Hi, everybody. Afrika back here. What we'll do is we'll just go ahead and read the information that we have for the data for Eagle. And we'll get the lovely Militia back online, and we'll go forward from there. By the way, everybody, I want to make sure, I do want to do a little micro apology. I am an old theater queen, and so sometimes I do forget to say, to keep everybody included. And I say once in a while, I do say ladies and gentlemen, and I do apologize for that. I try to be better, and ladies and gentlethems is what I try to make sure I do. So continue to call me out, because, you know, an old girl can learn a new trick. That's what the bars are here for. And that's what I am here to do. So if I can,
okay, we have Lex. Okay, so we do have the Eagle representative here. So I'm gonna hop off camera, and now I'm gonna go put on the lash.
There he is. Hey,
yeah.
Hey, Lex. Lex, hit your mute button, dear. Lex, your mute button's on. Lex, there you go. Mute button. Oh, and then turn off your turn your Twitch stream down so it doesn't reverberate. There you go. How are you, Lex?
I'm okay.
Good. Well, welcome. So as we've been talking to all the bars, and you've probably seen so that
let me just if I can say a moment, my voice is not sounding great because I'm going through some treatments, and I've been waiting for a long time, and it was not appreciated for you guys to switch us over without notice. It's not correct. I think that's very unprofessional, especially not knowing your format. That is going to drag this so long is really, crazy. I don't know what, I think that this was going on. You gave us no information. So I can barely talk because of my treatment. And every word I say, I want you guys to take consideration that it hurts.
Okay. So we're going to jump in then. First, we didn't change the schedule for you. You were in the exact same spot you've always been in. A couple minutes. I'm talking. We're a couple minutes behind schedule, and less than 10 minutes, but we're going to keep going. Since it hurts you to talk, it hurts you to talk, I'm going to start going in with the information. Since it hurts you to talk, I'm going to go ahead with the information. Okay? And here we go.
It's factual.
And here we go. So, for inclusivity rating, out of 319 respondents, 99 respondents gave the SF Eagle a score of inclusive or very inclusive, while 127 gave very exclusive or exclusive. That gave you an average score of 1.9 out of 4. Safety rating, 309 respondents. Out of 309 respondents, 112 respondents gave the SF Eagle a score of safe or very safe. However, 59 said they felt very safe or unsafe at your bar. That gives you a 2.2 average score out of 4. Your overall ranking in terms of inclusivity was 21 out of 27 bars and 19 out of 27 for safety. So now I'm going to go in with the general information that we got from the written responses. Okay, so the survey showed that many participants felt like nightlife spaces prioritized cis gay white men over other groups. It also showed that women, Black and Indigenous folks, and trans and non-binary folks did not feel safe or included in most nightlife spaces. And those participants also felt that there was a lack of representation in staffing and management on stage and in marketing. The survey also showed that many nightlife spaces struggled to manage culture of touching without consent. Instances of sexual harassment, assault, inappropriate touching, and groping came up over 30 times. The SF Eagle was mentioned with the keywords unsafe specifically. And the SF Eagle was also mentioned with the keywords transphobia on 2 different occasions. One incident involved a transphobic reaction from a bartender after checking a patron's ID. So, also the survey showed that a substance-heavy environment and lack of options and programming for sober patrons led them to feel unsafe or excluded. Now I'm going to move on to the questions. All right. With that information, does your bar and looks to invite into your bar the Black community? So just because a Black person hosts
Can you give me an
event,
example of what, like an...
So for example, Nikki Jizz is a drag queen. She hosts a show called Reparations.
Can you give me an example of a current event
Yes.
that I can identify it?
I'm giving you an example right now. So there's a show called...
A event that presently holds a Black center, so I can identify what type of event.
That's what I'm doing. So there's a show called Reparations, for example. That show brought in only Black performers and invited those people. Anyone can come, but the goal of the show was to promote Black artists, Black music, Black performances, that sort of scenario. There was also a show at the Stud back in the day called Black Fridays. That show brought in only Black or POC performers and was meant to uplift the voices of Black people. Do you have anything reoccurring like that regularly? Or did you, at the beginning of the year before COVID, that did that?
I still not grasping the concept greatly, but for what you tried to explain, it seems that we don't have a Black center event, and I was not aware of any, and that's why I cannot identify your concept really well. So,
right, but you are saying that that is not something that you have.
What I'm saying is that I don't. The one that you just told me doesn't, I don't identify it with other ones in order for me to make a grasp of what a Black center event is like. I mean, I don't know. I think we should just move on because it doesn't. I don't know. It's hard also for me to.
Let's move on.
Okay. Do you have any trans-specific programming that invites in trans people and promotes trans people and their art or their work?
Well, the Eagle is a place that brings people, like everybody, together. So bringing an event for just trans or for just any part of our community only, it will not meet the mission of the Eagle, because our mission is to bring everybody together. So what we do is we try to make events where anyone can come, and we're not gonna do a one spot on the spotlight events, because that sort of alienates the group and alienates the group from the community. So I don't participate on events that will alienate everybody coming together.
Okay.
What about
Macho Macho?
What about Macho Macho?
Can you elaborate on your question?
What is Macho Macho? What is the programming of that?
It's an event for just to do with different music, like Latin music.
Okay. So perfect. So that is exactly what I mean by centering a specific group. As I said before, anyone can come to a Black-centered event. However, what we are doing is playing music of Black origin, and we're highlighting Black artists, but anybody can come. So with that said, and since you understand the concept of how Macho Macho works, would you say that you have anything like that pertains to Black people rather than Latin people, Latinx people?
Well, the event, the conceptual theme of it is music. So it's, what you're saying is different, because there is no, like, I don't know. So, yeah, there is no trans-specific events that we do, or there is no...
no Black specific events or...
No, I mean, music, all music has the Black soul, so I don't know.
I'm going to mark that for no. But you did say you have lesbian-centered programming?
We have women's groups and programming, so all the ladies, like girls, they will have a night out. Yeah.
Great. All right. Now we're going to move on to the next question then. Are there any Black people in positions of management at the SF Eagle?
Management is done by me, and I'm Mexican.
So no Black people in the position of management. All right. But POC, yes. Is there any? You're the only manager?
No, there is 4 management.
All right, perfect. So no Black people, but are there any people who identify as female on the management team?
No.
All right. Is there any people who identify as trans on the management team?
No.
All right. Is there any other POC besides you on the management team?
When you mean POC, can you explain?
By POC, I specifically mean a person of color, in this case, visible color, someone who is well melanated, non-beneficiary of the privilege of colorism.
A difference on if you're not brown, you just because you're lighter skin, you're still not.
I'm saying someone who is not a beneficiary of the color of colorism and passing, white passing.
So. I don't know, because what you're saying is totally wrong. I mean, as a brown person, you're saying that my coworker that has lighter skin and he's also Latin, but he doesn't just.
No, we're saying someone who you can visibly identify is a person of color, someone who is not white passing.
Well, I don't know when you say visibly identified. To judge people for the color of the skin, is that what you're trying to say?
No. Okay, so let's pull this back for a second. Are there any other besides yourself? Is there anybody of ethnicity a manager? Are there any other Latinx? Are there any Asian? Are there any Indian, Southeast Asian, Middle Eastern? Are there any other people of color that are management in your space?
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
You don't know.
Fine. Okay.
You don't know. Moving on to question number 3 then. So on the basis of the sober individuals who responded and said that they felt either unsafe or excluded due to the lack of non-alcoholic or sober options, do you offer your patrons a non-alcoholic mocktail type menu? Yeah. Yes, you do?
We do hold a lot of things for, Mr. Sober works with us. Yeah. That's the thing. A lot of people do not know the mission of the Eagle, and that's this type of conversations are conflicted because I think that what this conversation has been brought on to is you're either Black and you support Black, or you're not, and they don't even know that the Honorary Eagle and my late partner were Mexican in the first place. Mike was also Mexican, and
right.
and there is a lot of some of my staff that look white, and they don't and get reaction from folks that they think that they're they're white, and
right, and
specifically the Black people like yourself and having this conversation to me. Do you know how many Latin people are working at the Eagle that are not white?
Right, and that's what I'm saying. That's what I mean by visibly person of color. Just like you assumed by looking at me that I'm only Black versus a Latin person myself. I'm saying, is there anybody who works in management in your bar who is visibly a person of color? That's what I meant.
That visibly is a total wrong word. I don't suggest you continue because it's, there's not color in people. We're just people,
All right, so we're gonna move on. I just did get some information that BAQNC, which is a Black-centered Leatherman group, does hold an event at your.
Started the section here. I actually spoke to them and back in LA when they were having a section over here, and they were. I was there when they were talking about it, and I invite them to come up to have the Eagle as the center, a bar. And there's a lot of people from BAQNC that come over. Not everybody comes over, but there has always been, the door is always open.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Like if BAQNC hosted an event at your bar, which I believe they do.
They have.
Yes, exactly. So that is a Black-centered event, but it doesn't mean that everyone's excluded from being the bar.
It's actually that group what I see is about being together, all together, and just be, with BAQNC. So that's why I don't describe it as a specifically Black, because the group wants to be a group BAQNC, but they want to be around everybody else. So it's not specific. So that's why my doesn't match to your criteria that is a specific something,
So Lex, hold on. I think it's semantics, and you may not be understanding what Militia is saying. So you do
like even now from there to here is exactly. I hear what you're saying. It's not semantics.
Well, I think so, because when we say Black-centered events, BAQNC is a Black-centered group that does Black-centered events, and yes, everyone is invited. So what we're saying is, do you have programming that is Black-centered and invites everybody in? I.e., BAQNC does a Black-centered event because invites everybody in. Does that make sense?
Have both events over there, but it's not a Black center that is just going to be them. It's just going to be all together. That's what the Eagle does, bring everybody together.
Okay, so I think you're not understanding the concept of the conversation that we're having.
Is completely clear. So maybe you're not understanding. It's okay.
I'm ready to move on to the next question. Yeah?
Go ahead.
All right. So on the topic of consent, assault, harassment, does your bar have a strict consent and anti-harassment policy?
Yeah.
And is it posted and enforced?
It is enforced. I'm not sure. It's not posted, like we don't have a sign, but it's totally enforced.
Okay. Interesting. With that, I'm going to move on to Afrika and let her bring in the people. I'm done.
Okay.
All righty. Let's see what we have here. I'm going to go to the Zoom chat and see how many questions we have for you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's see here. No. What's that question? I'm looking for specific Eagle questions. I don't see any specific Eagle questions. So, Lex, I believe right then and there, our exchange didn't go quite the way that all of us would have liked it to go. And I want to make sure that you know that clearly we are talking about amplifying not just Black voices, but Black, Indigenous, people of color voices. And so you are a bar owner of color. And so
Which a lot of you guys did not know that.
We all knew that I knew you were. We all knew that you were Latin.
Yeah, the conversation that I had with what's the fellow's name, Jericho, before nobody knew before that that there was a Mexican owning the Eagle, and they thought it was a white male bar.
Well,
I think
I know that.
Go ahead.
I know that you as a Latin man own that bar, and you have other Latinx managers and or bartenders that work on your staff. But the patronage of that bar tends to be specifically centered around cisgendered white men. And that's pre you, and that is pre you owning that bar, and that's the way that bar has been in the past. The questioning of what we're trying to get to is
talking about died 7 years ago, 9 years ago, and it never opened as that bar. So whoever has that idea, that is probably very outdated, because since we opened, we changed the whole concept and the whole way to operate the bar.
All righty. Rexy had a comment for you. Where's Rexy?
There we go.
Rexy?
I just wanted to offer, just in case you need any support with language, because I know as someone who is Mexican, of Mexican descent, if there's some things that would be more accessible to talk through, and in Spanish, en español, yo también hablo español. Soy de México, y si quieres podemos hablar más sobre porque es importante poder hacer espacios específicamente para las personas negras, afro-latinas. Entonces, estamos hablando sobre no nada más es el espacio para ellas mismos, pero también para que las personas de diferentes razas se sientan que puedan llegar a un
no, por eso bar. Llegar al bar por lo mismo. Porque
por eso lo que estamos diciendo no es que deberíamos hacer una fiesta especialmente para un tipo de persona, pero haciendo una fiesta, un evento especialmente para un tipo de persona, invita a que esas personas sientan que tu lugar pueda ser para todas las personas, no nada más un tipo de personas. Entonces, hablando de poder hacer fiestas para personas específicamente, invitas a más de la comunidad, en vez de que la comunidad crea que nada más sea para un tipo de persona.
So can we just go back so everybody can listen? And so she was telling me that about talking, creating spaces, parties so everybody be included, and that's what I said is the same thing that the mission of the Eagle is to be inclusive and bring events where everybody wants to come. It's about the event. It's not about specific ethnic or specific. It's just like everybody comes together. That's at least that's what we do. And
what I am saying is that the importance of creating people, like a specific events for specific groups of people, makes it a venue that all people do really feel comfortable coming to. So if you don't have specific Black programming, if you don't have specific Latinx programming, if you don't have trans-specific programming, then people won't feel like they belong at your bar. But by creating those specific programming, you are inviting them and telling them, look, we're creating space for you intentionally so that you are welcome here. So it's all about working with community. And it will be a resource for you so we can continue this conversation.
I understand that. But, the Eagle and the events the Eagle is more about events, events bringing people together. We support our communities. Everybody's, like all the people and we do a lot of community work. That's what we really do more than anything. And but
yeah. So we are gonna have vamos a tener alguien más que venga a hablar contigo, que es otra persona de la comunidad. We're having someone else from the community come speak to you. So I'm going to hop on. Again, we are going to work towards helping you create a space that welcomes everyone. Lo que estamos haciendo es especialmente, te estamos haciendo un servicio a ti para que tu comunidad se sienta que puede llegar ahí.
You're so sweet. Yeah, but the community work that I do is actually I do the work for the community. So for the spaces, for the city, for everybody to come together.
You can say that, but it's action, right? We can say our mission is to welcome everyone, but if we do not actively,
like all these communities together and they come to the bar, everybody is there, everybody is welcome. I don't know, and whoever actually they don't see it is because they don't go to the place. So you can't talk about.
That's the thing. We do go.
If you participate in it, okay. If you don't go to the places and see, oh, you know what? I never realized that this was actually for me too. So people, having yourself like, oh, they don't do this type of event from there. I'm just not gonna go. They miss the chance and opportunity. What really happens there when everybody comes together? Like all the non-profit events that we hold, all of the things that we support.
We're gonna move on. Before we move on, I do want to say this. We do go. We have attended. We did the survey because people have gone.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not what we're just picking a random place out of nowhere. We did the research. We asked the people, and the people told us this is how they feel. And it is up to you now to listen.
I've gone a couple of times, and then
I live right down the street from. I live right down.
You actually can tell me what.
We're gonna go ahead and bring on Clark now to speak as well, and then we can continue talking more about how we can make a better space together. So let's go ahead and bring up the next speaker. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is Clark speaking to Lex, dear?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So Lex, this is where we've given space for our community members to talk directly to the bar with regards to any wrongs they may have felt that have happened, and for a restorative justice moment to happen between you and that person. So,
restorative moment? Can you explain restoring moment?
A restorative justice moment, it may be that you just sit back, listen, hear what they have to say. You might not have known that this happened to them, and they want to make sure that you understand how they felt in your space and how you can go forward and make it better for them. Does that make sense?
For them, this specific person.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So Clark, where are you, dear? I'm looking for you.
Hi, I'm here.
Oh, Princess Panocha. Hello, darling.
Oh, yeah, that's me. Hi, everyone.
I'm sorry. I was looking for a Clark on the thing, so I'm sorry.
Oh, Clark, Princess Panocha, God's little princess. I have a lot of names.
Okay.
Welcome.
Hi.
Go ahead. Speak your truth, dear.
Yeah, I'm actually going to keep this relatively brief. I did one party that was for a year with the Eagle. It was called Macho Macho. It was not originally my party. It was Frisco Ravi's party. Then something happened. Personal things with Frisco happened. Are you losing me?
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Personal things were happening with Frisco, so he dropped out of the party. I was booked as the host. I was booked as the host. And so it was never really truly my party. It was something I kind of like inherited, and then we kind of just kept on going with it. So I have experience with the Eagle. I've never actually worked or have met Lex before, to be honest. I've always worked directly with Jeff, I believe, who was sort of like in charge of events. For the most part, with the party that I was throwing with the Eagle called Macho Macho, the only issue really that we had was my DJ got underpaid often when it was brought up. He was like met with like a lot of like, for lack of a better word, like shade. Like they kind of just, they like didn't, they didn't handle it very well. And then they eventually just let him go as the DJ, which then hurt the party's attendance because he like brought in a crowd. So my DJ's treatment at the party was not very stellar. That's my main complaint in terms of that. My main reason for being on here is when my drag sister Amora was asked to do a digital viewing party, she brought up something about doing something for Black Lives Matter, doing a benefit, and the response that she received was that the Eagle doesn't get involved in politics. And I'm here, my main reason for coming on here is to say that every time I have worked with the Eagle, or not every time, but a lot of the times that I've worked with the Eagle outside of the parties that I threw there, they had booked me for a few things. And like a couple of times I was asked to, before, like was not mentioned beforehand, was told to present an award, to present something about a politician. So when the Eagle, in response to a request for a benefit to Black Lives Matter, and their response to that was, we don't get involved in politics. My response to that is, you do get involved in politics. You have multiple politicians at the Eagle. You have presented multiple politicians, Scott Wiener, London Breed, with awards. And so my problem is, like, you do get involved in politics. And the thing that you didn't want to get involved in was Black Lives Matter. And that's been sort of an ongoing problem that we've had with the Eagle, is sort of, it's a very predominantly white man space. I can't speak on Black people. I can't speak for Black people, but from what I hear, a lot of people don't feel very welcomed at that space. And based off my experience, the Eagle kind of just needs to do better in terms of keep holding space for Black people and holding space for femmes, whether it be cis women, whether it be trans women, whether it be non-binary people, trans femmes. I mean, we all know that the Eagle has a reputation for being a place that is not very welcoming and not very, that doesn't hold a lot of space for trans femmes, cis women, and like trans women. So that's kind of just, I'm here to kind of give a point of view based off of what I've experienced from the Eagle. And my main thing is sort of just, I'm here to back up Amora. The Eagle does get involved in politics. They didn't want to particularly get involved in Black Lives Matter, which I find to be a problem because you guys, time and time again, have had multiple politicians being celebrated at your bar. And that's it.
Thank you, Clark, for calling in.
Yeah.
All right. Have a great night.
All right. Bye-bye.
So Lex, that was the conversation that Clark needed to have with you to let you know what's going on with the way he's feeling.
Okay. You can hear me, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So is I don't know if he was able to hear me or not. I don't know. But after listening to him, it seems that the things that he said was the impressions that he had from somebody else's experience. He was saying that,
to host a event that had a Black Lives Matter like fundraising element to it. The bar said no because they don't get involved in politics. So what he's saying is based on his experience.
Yeah, that's what.
I'm sorry.
That is completely incorrect. So let me tell you what happened. He said that he worked at the Eagle having an event, and he didn't met me. He really was not working at the event because I'm there. So anybody that holds holds an event there actually gets to meet me because I'm very specific on what we do. And the awards that I have given out is called a leather feather, and is given to persons and not only politicians but persons that had crucial their actions have been crucial for the leather community. So I never have given the award for Mayor London Bree. I think she actually has one on her name, but unfortunately she never actually got it. So all those awards have actually been given by me on a specific date, which is the anniversary of the bar. He's never actually given an award to anyone because the only award that the bar gives is just the leather feather, and it has only been given 3 years in a row, and each one is 5 feathers, and they are given by me personally the day of the anniversary when we closed up the street. And so I think that I can't tell you what he said, that he actually has been said that or been told to give any awards, but unfortunately that's not true. So and that award is
okay.
The concept is about being done something for the leather community.
Alrighty. Well, thank you for your time. I think Rexy will be in contact with you to have more direct conversations about what's going on and where we're going. And we wish you well.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right. Bye.
Bye.